Hello, my name is Dennis, and today I'll be doing a drawing of a still life of a pear. So the first thing you want to do is capture the larger forms of your subject, in this case a pear, and do larger elements of the larger forms of it. You want to start with scratchy lines to try to capture that form. You don't want to set anything in just yet if you can help it. And I got the general shape of it in my right here. Now I'm going to use some lighter lines to kind of capture the form of it. Yeah, it helps you visualize it a lot easier. Yeah, one of the things you want to be as an artist is able to see forms in your head. Makes the process a lot easier. And keep your lines as light as possible, especially in the early stages, so you can erase them and be able to erase them. Now let's see, and we need to get this stem here, and it's kind of here. So we're gonna give that kind of make it a little in the forward here, and give this little bump here to kind of make it like feels a little like foreshadowing, foreshortening, and show that it's kind of jumping out a little bit. Okay, and now I'm going to use some darker lines to show the form that I picked, representing the pear. Now I'm going to use the same line, another set of lines to catch the cast shadow here. So we're going to here. And I'm going to have the light coming from this direction. So it's going to go like from here. Here's your object. And it's going to cast a shadow like this. So kind of like here. Go like here. That far back. And try to capture the shape as best you can with the shadow. And we're going to have a little shadow here because we have it's a little rounded here. So it's going to have a smaller shadow here underneath. Okay. Yeah, you always want to do simple objects first before you go into more complex shapes like the human body or animals or even cars. Keep it simple. It's the best way to start and work your way up to the more complex forms. So I've got the shadow kind of out there. Now I'm going to do shadow mapping, starting with the terminator of my pear, which kind of starts right about here. See, this is, since the light's coming this way, this area is going to be slightly blocked off. So we're going to map this out with the forms we kind of gathered here. And yep, go here. Yeah, and the whole how to get the light and dark separated is a very kind of complicated subject matter, but very doable. It just needs practice and good imagination. And you'll be doing it from your imagination like a pro. Now I'm going to imagine this as being less of a hard edge. I'm going to make this a little softer, but for now I'm going to start with adding this light dark and be using this to help darken it. Oh, I should mention I am using my regular HB pencil Staedtler with the reusable lead. I've been using this for roughly 10 years. So I got this this has become like second nature to me. And look how I'm holding the pencil. See, I'm using this to kind of steady the pencil so it won't wobble as much when you're shading. You want to get shading smooth, get that extra realism to it. Yep. Yeah, due to the nature of your paper, sometimes it has little grains in it, makes it harder to smooth it out. All you have to do is kind of go over it like this if you want to know how to get rid of the white spots, like this. So, but for now, I'm just going to map it out and get all this out. Yep. All right. And also a good note about making the shade. Imagine the shadows on your object as shapes in themselves. Very obtuse and weird shapes, but shapes nonetheless that you combine, like triangles, circles, squares. Just imagine them as a combination of them, and it makes capturing the shadows a lot easier. All right. Yeah, that's kind of the general form of it. Now I'm going to start with the cast shadow next. And kind of do the same thing. And an interesting note, depending how close the light source is to your object, it'll create both hard and soft edges, as in sort of kind of like a blurry shadow. Something you might notice when you're outside and the shadow is on an object. You notice that closer to the object it's like more even, but the shadow further out kind of looks like it blurs out. That's due to your light source kind of losing its power over the object, and the cast shadow becomes more towards the light. Yep, let me just finish this shadow out. Yeah, also I should mention we're going to have a little shadow under here due to our light short hitting this. We have this blocking some of the light, so we'll have a smaller cast shadow down here. All right. Let me see if I can get this evened out. All right. Next, we're going to focus on the highlights of your object. That's where the light source hits the object. And since we decided it's going this way, we're going to have it hit right about here. And we're not going to shade this in. This is just a placeholder to find our highlights so we know where it is. Interesting fact, there is actually no lines in real life. It's just all light and shadows. We just use lines to help our minds organize where the light and dark goes. Just one of those interesting facts. Yep. And one last one here for good measure. And give it a interesting shape. Yeah, depending on how your object is shaped, it will affect how your shadows and your highlights will look too. So now I'm going to be using this pencil, the 6B, to help darken it a little bit. So usually we go here. Yeah, normally I try to use, you're supposed to use a knife and kind of cut off the top so you have a longer tip, but I've never been able to figure out how to do that without breaking the end. Sorry, I'm kind of quiet. I'm kind of concentrating here. Trying to get this down. Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to shading, it's kind of tricky. If you get this right, you've you mastered how to be an artist. Now, let's see. Yeah, I'm trying to capture that roundness of the shapes. Now we'll start down here to the occult shadow, which is like the darkest part of the area. Yep, and there's a little reflected light here. I might have messed that up a little bit. Let me see if I can fix that. Yep. Because, yep, that's usually an interesting fact. The reflected light is an object that's getting hit by surrounding here and coming back. That's why it's a little lighter there compared to your cast shadow. A little tricky to get right. Yep. All right. Yep. Yep. Now we're going to be moving on to the inner area and starting with my HB. Make it lighter because we want that to be lighter and our highlights to be kind of like the lightest. So yeah, and I'm going to go around the form here. Yep, and go down here. This the stem now. Like I said, it's going to follow the same rules. This side's going to be a little darker than this side. But now we're going to go back into here and try to get this as even as possible. Right. Ooh, looks like there's a little groove here, making it a little hard to shade it in. All right. And now we're going to go back over our darker pencil and try to blend this in so it feels like a little... Yeah, do it as light as possible. Try to keep it even. There you go. There you go. Yep, just like the same as before. This is going to be lighter since the it's further away from the object, so you won't see it as dark as over here. This is an interesting thing about shadows, cast shadows. Yeah, let me add a little grooves here to kind of give it that realism. And now I'm going to go cross hatch it here to try to get as much of the whiteness out of it in the background. So it feels like it's going to pop more. Yeah, that's why you cross hatch. Try to get as much of the page out of it so it feels like it's its own item. Kind of kills the illusion of your object, what you're drawing here. You might be able to get away with it, but in certain drawings, but normally that's a good rule of thumb. Now I'm just ever so lightly, I'm just gonna get this. Like I said, I'm trying to get rid of the whiteness of the paper. And that's kind of generally what you do when you're doing a still life. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.